It's a blessing to be in the National Football League. I mean, it's one of the greatest things you can do is score a touchdown, make a sack in front of 70,000 cheering fans. You got a couple million tuning in live. Yeah, he should be pumped. This is not about Russell Wilson, though. This is about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll looked at his Wikipedia. He said, man, I'm 69 years of age. I've been coaching since I was, almost damn near 19 years old. This is going into my 48th year as a coach. I've won 2 national championships. I won Super Bowl 48. If I want to do it again, I got to hand Russell Wilson the pots, the pans, the skill, everything. He's going to let Russell Wilson cook. So this whole conversation around Russell Wilson and why is he cheering on his teammates? He just asked for a trade. He's looking at Chicago, but all of a sudden he's liking this, he's liking that. Well, that's what he's supposed to do because he made himself heard. He sat at the table with Pete Carroll and said, Coach, let me cook. Let me guide us. I understand you want to play great defense. I understand you want to run the ball. I want to do that too. But the best way to the Super Bowl and the best way to win, Nick, is through me. And we know that. So I am a little bit surprised that it dramatically changed so quickly. I didn't think that these two were going to be able to sit at the table and compromise. And really looking at Coach Pete Carroll, because Coach Pete Carroll, he's a super coach. He's super successful. And the way he has done things in the past have worked. He's one of the most studied leaders in all of business, not just sports. So for him to sit down and compromise and say, you know what, I know I'm 69. I've been doing it for 48 years. Let me listen to Russ. Let me listen to my guys. So I'm excited for Russ. I'm excited for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, listen, Tyler Lockett's a really good player. He's also a really good player that was already on the Seahawks that was not even a free agent. This is a contract extension with a year left on his deal. I am not as certain as Brandon is that Pete Carroll has done any compromising. I think we're going to see how the game is called and how the plays are called once the season starts. But bringing back Tyler Lockett, who, again, was already under contract for this upcoming season, to me is not the sign of compromise. To me, what is instructive here is I think Russell Wilson or someone close to Russell Wilson got through to him, hey, man, I know it's not perfect here, but think about the places you asked to go to and what the problems would have been like there. Dallas was, I think, actually would have been a great fit, but it was also the least likely of all the places because they would have had to trade Dak. If the Saints had traded for Russell Wilson, guess what? They'd have used all their draft picks to trade for him, and they don't have cap dollars for the next 3 years, essentially, in New Orleans. They would not have been able to improve the team. Chicago is not replete with offensive talent, and the Raiders they've had one winning season in nearly 20 years. So I don't look at this offseason, Wilds, as Pete Carroll all of a sudden blinking and doing everything Russell Wilson wanted. To me, to my eye, the only major move they made that Russell Wilson wanted was the Gabe Jackson edition. I just think it's Pete Carroll saying, listen, hey, it could be a lot worse. We'll bring your guys back. And I will, to Brandon's point as far as compromising, I will listen to you more on game plan things. But I don't look at that. I don't think the Seahawks were all that threatened, it would appear, by Russell Wilson's pseudo-trade demand because I don't think they've done a ton of things to show they were threatened.
I agree. And Brandon, I'm going to throw it to you here. Are you planning on having Russ on the podcast? Is that why we haven't heard from Russell Wilson? Because I don't want to be a psychic. I don't want to read tarot cards. I don't want to have a crystal ball. I don't want to decipher tweets. I just want him to say, I'm excited about this year. I'm on the Seahawks. I know I had a wish list of teams I was going to go to, but throw that in the garbage. I don't even care if it's the truth necessarily, because here's what he can say. I'll read this verbatim. I'm just focused on this season and being in the right mental, emotional frame of mind to go out there and perform at the highest level. Sounds perfect. You know who said that? Tom Brady on the Greg Hill Show once he put his house up for sale. And he said, you know what? I'm focused on this year. What happens, happens. We haven't heard any of that. So I know we're going to act like, oh, all is well. Tyler Lockett got an extension. Let's go. I want to just hear something plain and simple. I'm a Seahawk. I'm excited for the year, and I haven't heard it yet.
No. Because of Nick's point, right? We're still early in the offseason. We haven't even gotten to OTAs. Hell, we don't even know if we're going to have OTAs, excuse me. It's still fresh. They're having these conversations. They had conversations. They're going to continue to have conversations. They're talking about what they're going to do in the draft to bolster this offensive line. Russell Wilson sitting down with his new offensive coordinator, putting together, okay, what are we thinking? What do you like, Russ? Here's what we did well over in L.A. That's what's happening right now. And, Nick, I want to push back on you when you talk about Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Like, Pete Carroll hasn't done nothing. I was there for a year. I'm telling you, his secret sauce, and I just said leadership, right? He is one of the most studied leaders in all of business. Why? Because when you walk in that building, it's almost like the Google approach, the Facebook approach. There's no offices. Everybody's all on the same floor. You can go, you have access to the CEO, the CMO, whoever you want. And he wants chemistry. He wants continuity. So if you got your number one guy, you got the face of the franchise walking in every single day not happy and everybody knowing that, Pete Carroll is not going to be happy with that. Pete Carroll's all about everybody working together. I just yesterday used one of his tactics leading my team, talking about Tell the Truth Wednesdays. Who did I get that from? Pete Carroll. Tell the Truth Wednesday. He does that every single Monday. They call it Tell the Truth Monday. You come in after a game, get whatever you have to get off your chest. You don't think Dwayne Brown's going to stand up and say, man, what's going on with you and Russell Wilson? This ain't what we've done the last 3 years. So I got to push back on you because I truly believe Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll are having constructive conversations and they're getting on the same page.
Well, I don't, to be clear, I don't doubt that those conversations are happening, and you obviously would know better than me. I guess what I doubt is that Russell Wilson is winning the argument, so to speak, because we haven't seen Seattle make any type of big splashy move that I think it would be like, oh, they were a little unsettled by what Russ said. That's why they went out and got player X. That's why they went out and made this move. Maybe they still will, or maybe in those conversations, what Carroll has communicated is, listen, we don't need to make any big moves, but I will empower you more on the offensive side. But I would be remiss, before we break, Jenna, listen, once upon a time, we had executives at this network, or at a network, it was this network, talk to Brandon about whether or not he should wear his hair down or up. I'm team wear your hair down. Brandon's team wear the hair up. Those same executives better call Kevin Wildes in the next couple minutes and say, hey, buddy, you can't have a pencil in your hair. You got pencils sticking out of your hair. The whole audience is thinking it. I'm thinking it. Or other side of your head, buddy. There you go. Now you're better. Now you're back. We couldn't listen to your analysis because you had something sticking out the side of your head. Jenna was thinking it. Brandon was thinking it. There we go. He was doing the Matt Patricia. Now we're better. Now we're back.
I was doing the whole Matt Patricia. Nobody can take you seriously, Wildes, at all. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.